Hey guys, this is Bailey. So today I thought I'd tell you a little bit about 10 things that will kill your magazine faster than anything else. So without further ado, let's get into it. So number one, having no clear vision for your magazine. So a lot of publishers that I talk to have no actual vision for where they want to take their magazine. They start a magazine and they say, wow, this is a great idea, or they have a friend that tells them, hey, you ought to start your own magazine because it's always been your dream to write articles. That's great, but if you don't actually have a vision for where your magazine is going, how do you know where you're going to end up? You know, there's a wise guy that said once that if you have a vision without goals, then it's just a hobby you're pursuing with no real end. You know, a famous book, otherwise known as the Bible, says that without vision, the people perish, right? If you think about it like this, if your company doesn't have an actual direction of where it's going, there's no way you can predict market trends, there's no way you can fight against competitors, and there's really no way that you can cast a clear path for where you're going next. Vision is one of the single most important things that you can ever do in any business, but definitely in the magazine business. There's a lot of things that people don't think about, but vision is number one. So my suggestion to you is create a vision board. A vision board is a document that you hang up on your office wall, that you hang up in your bedroom at your house or in your bathroom in the morning, that will clearly, visually dictate where you're trying to go with your magazine. If you're trying to get to $100,000 a year, if you're trying to get to 10,000 printed copies, if you're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers to your magazine, all of those things need to be on your vision board, laid out in a clear, succinct path for how you're going to get there. Number two, they don't hire a team. You know, most publishers are one-man shows or one-woman shows. Nothing wrong with that, except for the fact you can't really grow that way. So think about it like this. All of us are given 24 hours in the day. What can you do in that 24 hours? Well, you can go do sales, you can write editorial copy, you can do graphic design, you can do web development, you can do all these different things, but the one thing you can't do is focus on growing your magazine. Because every idea, every vision, every dream you might have to take your magazine to the next level won't be possible unless you have other people to help you execute that vision. So if you think about it like this, if you wake up, let's say early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you get started with your day. At best, if you're selling to most advertisers, you can't start selling till about 10 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes you can get a couple earlier in the day, but most of the time you can't. Well, if you come from the perspective of 10 o'clock in the morning to about 5 o'clock is your sales period, during that time you got to be out selling. Because of course, as you already know, without sales your magazine dies. Okay, so then you have to eat when you get done, assuming you didn't eat lunch. So let's say from 5 to 6 you're eating dinner now. Well, if you write articles, let's say from 6 until 10 every night, that's going to give you just enough time to be tired. You won't be able to grow your magazine if you're tired. You won't be able to grow your magazine if you're not well nourished. Think about it like this. The more time that you have, the more you can focus on building a solid vision. The more you can focus on hiring good people. You know, there's a lot of things that you really have to spend time thinking about, but freeing up your time allows you to think about those things. Number three, most magazine publishers have a hard time letting go of control. So a few of us have tried to go out and hire a team, right? We've hired a salesperson, we've hired a graphic designer, but when you don't want to let go of control, you struggle to basically just let the people do their job. If you've hired a graphic designer and you hired them because they're good, right? Let them do their job. If you spend the time looking over their shoulder, making tweaks, making corrections as time goes on, well, they're going to be frustrated, you're going to be frustrated, and you're just going to end up taking the project back yourself, which you don't want to do. Here's what I do. When I hire a graphic designer and I say, this is the task that we've hired you for, I give them full reign to do whatever they want to do, and then if I don't like something, I change it after the fact. But most of the time, they surprise me and they do far better than I ever thought they could have done. With my sales team, I don't tell them, hey, you need to sell in this particular fashion, you need to sell this particular product. I say, listen, here's what we offer, here's what you need to sell, go get the job done. The ones that are really self-starters, the ones that are completely motivated, they'll go out and do the job. The ones that won't, I don't need to watch them because they'll fire themselves. If you're going to be a successful publisher, you have to think about how to let go of control. Because if you let go of control, you'll free up your time. If you free up your time, you can create a better vision. Does that make sense? Number four, they try to expand too quickly. See, most magazine publishers that are very ambitious will try to expand their magazine as quickly as possible. meaning that you've put out your second or third edition and you're like, all right, let's take this show on the road. Now, this usually happens in two ways. One, you take the magazine that you already have and you try to put it in different areas. Or you try to start new magazines in different niches. Nothing wrong with either one of these plans, except for the fact if you try to do it too quickly, you could be setting yourself up for failure. So here's a good earmark to know whether or not you're trying to expand too quickly. First, if you have not made $200,000 in revenue, it doesn't matter where your area is. If you haven't made $200,000 in revenue, stay put. Because what that means is you have not completely solidified the market yet, and you don't have enough advertisers in your magazine yet. If you are wanting to expand and you want to expand quickly, no problem. Get to $200,000. Once you get there, you'll know that your base is solid enough that when you try to expand, your costs go down incrementally, but your profits go up. The thing with expansion is you have to be very meticulous in how you expand. So think about it like this. You should spend a very long time planning an expansion, but once it comes time to expand, you should expand rapidly. Spend a long time planning, but expand rapidly. Number 5. So for the other crew that is not as ambitious as their counterparts, they don't expand quickly enough. Now, here's the thing. If you're doing $200,000 in your market, it's time to expand. Now, you don't have to go into a different niche unless you just want to, but you should take your magazine out further than your current distribution network. The reason is because you get greater revenues. Also, it costs you less the more areas that you expand to. The thing that you have to be thinking about as you're trying to expand, even if you don't feel like you want to expand, is that at some point you're going to have competition. If I go into a market and I see a magazine's been there for 10 years and they haven't expanded, I say, okay, that means that the publisher has gotten comfortable. And anytime I see comfortability, I see an easy opponent to take on. Think about it from your competitor's standpoint. You haven't expanded. You haven't tried to grow. There's a lot more money left on the table that you're not trying to grab, so why wouldn't they come take it? You're basically saying to them, hey, I'm okay where I am. You can take everything that I'm missing. Oh, and then maybe in a couple of years you can take what I have too. If you don't want to lose your magazine business and you want to continue being the best publisher in your area, grow. That's the single most important thing that I can tell you when you're trying to expand is try to grow. Number 6, a lot of publishers have no contingency plan when things go wrong. I'm sure you all have heard the phrase that you should hope for the best but plan for the worst. I don't care what business you're in, something is going to go wrong. And that's okay, because that's just part of business. When something goes wrong though, you need to have a plan for what you're going to do. Going wrong in this case may mean your magazines weren't delivered on time. Or your graphic designer said, you know what, I'm tired of this and I quit the night before you need to go to print. You should have a plan for every single contingency that can happen. If a graphic designer is going to quit on you, you should automatically have a backup. Always have backups of your printer, of your graphic designer, of your web developer, of your social media team, and of course your editorial team. If anything ever happens, you need to have a plan that clearly defines what the next step is. So it's not enough for you to say, yeah, I got an extra graphic designer just in case this one quits. You need to have all of your materials together and in a way that the new graphic designer can step in and not miss a beat. It should happen flawlessly every time. If it's not happening flawlessly, you do not have a complete plan. Build contingencies into everything. If you hire a salesperson and the salesperson quits, that should not stop your business. If you hire an editorial person and they're writing articles and they say, oh, I got writer's block and my hand is cramped, that shouldn't stop your show. You know, as my dad used to say, one monkey don't stop, no show. So what I'm going to tell you is that anybody you have on your team, any person that you're working with, even if you're doing it all yourself, you need to have a plan for what happens if. Now, let's pray for the best that nothing happens, but let's be realistic. Something's going to happen. Number 7, one of the biggest reasons why publishers fail is they don't market their magazine. Now, as a form of marketing, it's kind of hard to get your mind around this sometimes, but I assure you, you need to get your mind around it. You have to market your magazine. Marketing it on billboards, on TV, on radio, in other magazines. Marketing your business, of course, on social media. Let me tell you what is not marketing. If you set up a website that you built yourself in less than 3 hours because somebody on TV told you that you could, That is not a marketing strategy. That is not a marketing plan. I'm going to tell you right now, even if you've been around websites for the last 10 years, you are not a web developer, unless you are. But if you're not a web developer, hire a web developer to help you. They're going to tell you about placing advertise or buy now above the fold. If you don't know what above the fold means, it's an old newspaper term, meaning that the top stories, the most important stories, always were above the fold in a newspaper, because they folded in half. It's the same thing on websites. You have to have calls to action, you have to have conversion opportunities above the fold in your website. Think about it like this. The more time that you spend coming up with marketing strategies and marketing plans, the better your magazine is going to be. People want to know, where can they pick your magazine up? People want to know, why should they read your magazine? You should be telling them every chance you get. You should have physical ambassadors that are on the street that people can talk to. You should have a plan going on social media all the time. You know, a lot of businesses don't spend time on social media. They set up a Facebook account and they're posting 4th of July barbecue pictures and things like that. That's not marketing, okay? Let me tell you something. If you're going to do marketing, you need to spend money on marketing. If you're going to do marketing, you may need to hire a professional to help you. But whatever it takes, you need to be doing marketing. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If you have, let's say, $100,000 come into your magazine every year, 20 to 30,000 of that 100,000 should be spent on marketing. If you're spending anything less than 30% of your annual budget, you are not doing enough marketing. So number 8, if you don't work. So what happens a lot of times is us as publishers, we get to a certain point where our magazine is providing for our lifestyle and we stop working. We want to enjoy the fruits of our labor. We want to sit back and spend time with our families and go on vacations and all that kind of stuff. Let me be the first to tell you, your magazine will die, either by competition or just by some of your staff saying, I don't want to work with you because you don't want to work at all. Yes, it happens all the time. Staff quit because the owner doesn't want to work. Spend time every day working on your magazine, either by expanding your magazine, making your content better, finding new resources to tap into to grow your magazine, finding new avenues of revenue. There's always something you can be doing to make your magazine more profitable. So do it. Don't use the excuse of, oh, we're in a good place, because I'll tell you what, there are things that you cannot control, like a recession. There's supposed to be a recession coming pretty soon. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but if this is the first time that you're hearing about it, great. I'm happy to tell you, Merry Christmas, there's a recession coming. You should be planning how to make your magazine recession-proof. If your magazine cannot survive a recession, or if you don't know the answer to that question, you are not working enough. And that's just the truth, because you might be spending time going out selling ads and writing articles because you're doing everything as a one-man show. That's fine. But if we're going to be successful publishers, the thing that we need to do is we need to spend time working in the right direction, working on things that are going to grow the business. Don't spend time working on something that's not going to push you into the $500,000, $1 million range with your magazine. If you've been at 100,000 or 200,000 for the last 4 or 5 years, your magazine's not growing because you're not working hard enough. Now, I'm going to also say, when I say you're not working hard enough, that also means you're not working smart enough. The more you work, the more avenues you begin to discover on how to grow your magazine faster, better, stronger. If you're not spending the time doing that, there's something wrong with the process, and we need to figure out what that is. Number 9, you don't read. All successful entrepreneurs should be reading books. All successful entrepreneurs do read books. There's no difference as a publisher. You're a publisher. You should be reading because you own a writing source. What you should be doing if you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur is reading at least 15 to 20 books a year. 15 to 20 books a year. That basically means you need to be reading a book once every 2 to 3 weeks. That's not a lot of time. If you think about it like this, somebody has taken the time to write a book. They've taken their entire life's journey, their entire business journey, and compressed it into something that will take you about 8 to 10 hours to read. If you could learn how to do a whole new marketing campaign, if you could learn how to change the way that you do business, change the way your operation works, change the way you interact with people, change your customer service model, all from reading a book, why would you not? Especially if it's going to make you more money. If you're going to be a successful publisher, which of course I want you to be, I want you to read. You know, I'm going to go off subject just here for a quick second. What I'm going to do for anybody that watches this video, if you want to come to our website, howtogrowamagazine.com, I'm going to put a list of books that I read every year on this list. And then just to make it even better, I'm going to add more books that I'm reading as well, so you can see what I'm reading. And just so you know, all of my executive team reads these books. So they're there for you. Feel free to pick them up wherever you get them. I'm not judging you. You find them where you find them, but read. It's a very important thing. Please read. Number 10. This is the hardest one. A lot of publishers don't want to eat fried bologna and ramen noodles to be successful. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If we're going to grow any business, it doesn't matter if you're a publisher or if you're growing any business at all, you need to live as inexpensively as possible. You know, I was talking to a guy that his company does maybe about $300,000 a year, which is a good amount. And he's able to profit $100,000 a year. He lives $100,000 a year lifestyle. You know, here's what I'm going to tell you. He can't afford it. And I'm telling you now, if your magazine is not making you at least $1.5 million a year, you should not be paying yourself $100,000 a year. And even still, you shouldn't be paying yourself that much. My advice to you is, even if you have a family, try to live on at least $4,000 or less a month. If you can do that, just think, if you have $100,000 a year profit and you're living on $4,000 a month, you have a huge amount of money that you can now use to grow your business. You can't grow your business if you don't have available cash. It doesn't matter what you think about growing a business, it doesn't happen without available cash. You have to have money to grow. Now here's the thing, you might be able to go out and hustle a little bit and make some money, and that's great, more power to you. But if you're going to grow an empire that has a solid foundation, you need some cash. Now, what that means is right now, if your lifestyle costs you $8,000 a month, you need to sit down with your spouse, or if you're single, sit down with your budget, and you need to start redlining things. You need to be cutting out, if you're living in an expensive neighborhood, put your house up for sale and move it to a townhome that has 2 bedrooms. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it might suck. But you know what? That extra money that you have could mean the difference between you growing your magazine big or not. If you're financing a luxury car, if you're leasing a luxury car, get rid of it. Because the truth of the matter is that if you're paying top dollar for these cars, if you're paying anything over $300 a month, it's going to be very difficult for you to use that extra money to grow your magazine. You know, here's something that is even smaller than that. Your light bill. Turn off your lights. This is one of the things I tell my wife all the time, is turn off the doggone lights. You know what? I make enough money that I can leave my lights on. But you know what? I don't. Because I remember a time when we could barely afford to eat. I remember a time when I was broke and homeless and I didn't have anything to my name. You know what? Turn off the lights. You would be surprised how much money you can save every month by doing little things like not driving around the city, mapping out your route before you go so you can save gas, turning off your lights at home so you're not having a high electric bill every month. Doing little things like that will add to your bottom line. And you need every available dollar in your business to grow. So use it. Use it. Please, cut your lifestyle down. If you can get down to living on $4,000 a month, I guarantee you will be able to grow your magazine to untold size. Most people don't think about living like a pauper for 2 years so you can live like a king or a queen for the next 10. But if you want to be successful as a magazine publisher, if you want to have a multi-million-dollar magazine company, live cheap. You know what? Skip the trips to Chili's, right? Skip the trips to Fogo de Chao, it's my favorite restaurant. Skip the trips to Fogo de Chao. Right now, think in terms of, you know what? If you have to make a couple of loaves of bread and a few salads work for a week, do that. There's nothing more important than saving money when you're trying to grow your business. So here's how I think about it. I love Fogo de Chao. I love the place. When my friends call me up and they say, hey Bailey, let's go to Fogo de Chao, I always say, yeah, I'm down. I'd love to go. But see, when I start thinking about that $60 that Fogo de Chao is going to cost me, it's worth every penny, let me assure you. However, I start thinking, if I take that same $60 and I spend it on Facebook, or I take that same $60 and spend it on YouTube or Google, it'll go a lot further. You got to watching this video because I spent that $60 and put it on YouTube or Google or Facebook. The thing you have to think about is every single dollar matters. Even if you're going to McDonald's and you're spending the $10 to buy a meal, yeah, $10 is not a lot of money. And you know what? You'll spend it and never think about it again. But here's the important part. That same $10 could have took you much further on social media. Could have took you much further on Google or YouTube. Spend your money wisely. Ratchet down your lifestyle. Get under $4,000 a month if you can, because if you can get to millions because you have the available cash. I talk to publishers all the time that are doing $500,000, $300,000, $250,000 in sales, and they're struggling. Why are they struggling? How are you barely scraping by on $500,000 a year? You know why? Because your lifestyle is too high. Listen, I make far more than $500,000 a year, but I can tell you my lifestyle doesn't cost me more than $4,000 a month. Now, that may surprise you to learn that, but the truth is that there's no reason for it to. Because you know what? One thing that I've learned on my publishing journey is I'm an excellent negotiator. So I can talk my way into getting a cheaper house, getting a cheaper car, buying clothes cheaper even. But the thing you have to think about is, if you're going to be a successful publisher and you're going to try to expand and grow, you need available cash. So please, whatever you do, ratchet down your lifestyle. I don't care what it takes. And you have to get that in your mind. It doesn't matter what it takes. You're going to be successful no matter what. And I don't care if you're 30 years old. I don't care if you're 70 years old running a magazine. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you have kids, grandkids, what have you. Move into a cheaper place if this is what matters to you. Now look, if you're comfortable and you don't want to grow and you want to risk somebody else coming along, because they will come along, fine, do what you want. But my opinion is, and I'd love to see you grow, of course, but my opinion is, take it down. It's not worth it. Like I've said in previous videos, I used to live a lifestyle where I was spending anywhere from 10 to 30 grand a month, right? On nothing, on food, on travel, on things like that. Just think of how much further my business would be today if I'd not wasted that money. I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you this sitting on a high horse or anything like that. I just don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. Because you know what? Somebody did come in. Somebody came in and they beat my magazine and pushed me out of an entire area. I was the biggest magazine in this area, but I lost. You know why? Because I got comfortable. Because I was living an expensive lifestyle when I should have been using that money to grow. I'm telling you this because I don't want to see you fail. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you do well. I want to see you doing $1.5 million in sales. Anything I can do to help, please reach out to us. We're here for you. Just let us know. Hey, I hope you guys liked today's video. Feel free to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube page. Click the button. Click it. Click the button. No, just kidding. No, for real, click the button. All right, bye.